Good morning, boys and girls. Today we are going to read and discuss Act 2, Scene 1. I know most of you have done this scene already, but I thought it best to do the whole Act 2 with you in this manner. Please follow as I read in your books from page 51 to 53. You are welcome to pause the video and make notes in your book as we read. The setting for this scene is Belmont. You will remember at the end of Act 1, Scene 3, we have learned that the other suitors have decided not to choose a casket and to leave Belmont. But as they departed, another knocked on the door, the Prince of Morocco. In this scene, we meet the prince. Let us begin our reading on page 51. Belmont, Portia's mansion, trumpet sound. The Prince of Morocco, an African all in white, enters with attendants, and Portia enters with Nerissa and followers. The setting of this scene is Belmont, a room in Portia's mansion. There's trumpet sound. Trumpet sound always indicates the entrance of somebody important, in this case, the Prince of Morocco. Note that the Prince of Morocco and his followers are all dressed in white. If you were the director, how would you make the Prince of Morocco stand out from the rest of his followers? Morocco. Don't dislike me because my face is black. It is the dark badge of the burning sun, whose neighbor I am, near whom I was bred. Bring me the whitest skinned man from the north, where the sun scarcely thaws the icicles, and let us cut our arms deep for your love, to prove whose blood is reddest, his or mine. I tell you, lady, this black face of mine has made the bravest fear me. By my love, I swear, the best and most prized beauties of our region have loved it too. I would not change this color, my noble queen, except to win your love. The very first words of a character is always most important. Morocco begins by saying, "Don't dislike me because my face is black." It's almost as if he knew beforehand that Portia would be prejudiced against his dark skin complexion. In the next line he says, "It is the dark badge of the burning sun." The sun is personified as a great lord or god. Morocco describes himself as a servant of this mighty god, and he wears the uniform of his great master. Note that he is not ashamed of his skin color nor his culture. He continues by saying, "Whose neighbor I am, near whom I was bred." He lives close to the sun. That is a reflection to the warm temperature that they experience in Morocco. So Morocco says he was born and raised near the sun, and therefore he has a dark complexion because of the hot climate. In the next line he says, "Bring me the whitest skinned man from the north, where the sun scarcely thaws the icicles." Here he creates a contrast between him, who lives in Morocco close to the sun, and the north, where the sun scarcely melts the ice. In the next line he says something odd. He says, "And let us cut our arms deep for your love, to prove whose blood is reddest, his or mine." In those days it was believed that a person who is brave has a darker colored blood, and a person who is a coward has a lighter color blood. Therefore he says, "Let us cut our arms and compare the color of our blood," and he is sure that his will be the reddest, because he is truly a brave gentleman. In the next couple of lines, instead of describing Portia and her beauty and how deeply in love he is with her, he discusses himself and how brave he is. He says, "I tell you, lady, the black face of mine has made the bravest fear me." In other words, many a people has looked into his face and has feared him. By my love, I swear the best and most prized beauties of our region have loved it too. He's saying there are many women in his country who is willing to marry him. That makes us wonder, if there are so many beautiful maidens in his home country willing to marry him, why does he want to marry Portia? "I would not change this color, my noble queen, except to win your love." Once again, He indicates that he is proud of his heritage and his skin color, and he would not wish to change any of that. He refers to Portia as a queen, although she is not. What do you think might be the reason for that? I often refer to my little girl as my princess. That does not mean she is one, but it shows my true affection for her. I think Morocco does the same. Another reason might be that if he eventually ends up marrying her, she would become his queen. Let's continue our reading. Portia. Regarding choice, I am not solely led by the shy guidance of a maiden's eyes. Besides, the lottery of my future state takes away the right of choosing for myself. But if my father had not denied me that, wisely restricting me to give myself to him who wins me in the way I told you, you, famous prince, should stand as fair chance as any suitor I have so far seen for my affection. Portia says regarding choice, I am not solely led by the shy guidance of a maiden's eyes. In other words, she does not have the right to choose her own husband. It all depends on the suitor who chooses the correct casket. This was obviously part of her father's plan. In the next line she says, besides, the lottery of my future state takes away the right of choosing for myself. But if my father had not denied me that, wisely restricting me to give myself to him who wins me in the way I told you. In other words, she's saying that her father is limiting her in choosing her own husband. But this was wisdom. In the last couple of lines she says, you, famous prince, would stand as fair a chance as any suitor I have so far seen for my affection. Now we know as audience that she disliked all of the other suitors, and if it was up to her, she would not have married any one of those suitors. Yet she says a fairer chance. In other words, he has as good a chance. This is a punning reference back to a fair complexion, in other words, a light-skinned person. Portia's not only beautiful, but also quick-witted. Morocco. I would outstare the sternest eyes that look out brave, the heart most daring of the earth. Pluck from the mother bear her suckling cubs. Yes, mock the lion when he roars for prey, to win you, lady. But how sad it is, not a man's worth, but chance must make you his. If Hercules and his servant Leeches played dice to decide which was the better man, the weaker hand might make the greater throw. So Hercules is beaten by his page, and I, by letting blind luck lead my way, may miss what one less worthy may attain, and die with grieving. At least the Prince of Morocco is good-mannered. He begins by saying, and even for that, I thank you. And let's be honest, compared to the other suitors, we would say he is the best suitor so far. He says, therefore I beg you, lead me to the caskets to try my fortune. By this scimitar, a scimitar is a sword with a curved blade, and he's now making an oath. He says, I swear by this scimitar that killed the Shah of Persia and his prince, thrice victor over Sultan Samain. No emperor of Persia was killed at this time. So perhaps Shakespeare didn't have his facts right, but it's more likely that the Prince of Morocco is now trying to impress Portia with boasting and lies. He says, thrice victor over Sultan Samain, which means there has been 3 battles against the Sultan Samain. The Sultan Samain is a Turkish ruler who was known as the Magnificent. And Morocco says he has beaten this sultan 3 times on the battlefield. He continues by saying, I would outstare the sternest eyes that look out brave, the heart most daring of the earth. He says, in a stare contest, I will beat anybody because I am the bravest. And he continues using hyperbole to exaggerate just how brave he is. He says he will even pluck from a mother bear her suckling cub. Pluck from means to remove or to take away from, and we all know that bears are very fierce animals, and even more so if their young are threatened. He says, I will mock the lion when he roars. In other words, I will openly resist or defy the lion when he roars. In other words, when he is in search of his prey. So I will not even fear a hungry lion. And then he talks about Hercules. Now, we all know that Hercules was a great hero in the Greek legends. And he talks about Lichas, his servant, and how unfortunate it was that Hercules' bravery was useless against the cunning deceit of Lichas, his servant. The Prince of Morocco kind of misses the point. He truly believes that this is a game of luck and that his strength is useless because it all depends on whether you are lucky enough to choose the correct casket. And therefore he says, the weaker hand may make the right throw. Although Morocco believes that he is the best man for Portia, he won't necessarily win Portia's hand in marriage because he might just be dealt a bad hand. He talks about the goddess of fortune or luck. Morocco says, and I, by letting blind luck lead my way, may miss what one less worthy may attain and die with grief. In those days it was believed that the goddess of fortune or luck was blindfolded, and therefore she could not favor anyone because she could not see. That is why she's unreliable. Today she might choose one person and the next day another. In the second last line he says, may miss what one less worthy may attain. He says, an inferior person might win the hand of Portia, even though he is the bravest. Let's continue reading. Portia, you must take a chance and either not attempt to choose at all, or swear before you choose, if you choose wrong, never to speak in future to a lady with a view to marriage. So, think carefully. She says you must take your chance, in other words, try your luck, take the risk. And now this is a last attempt trying to persuade the Prince of Morocco not to choose one of the caskets. She's warning him by saying, consider it carefully, because if you choose the wrong casket, you may never marry any other woman. Morocco, no, I will never speak. Come, let me try my luck. The Prince of Morocco agrees to these terms. He says, certainly I will not propose marriage to any other lady, and is willing to choose one of the caskets. Portia, first to the temple, there to swear the oath. Then, after dinner, you should take your chance. An oath like this was sworn at an altar in a church. And this is no ordinary oath. It was taken very seriously. Morocco, good fortune then. Make me blessed or the most cursed of men. And then they exit. That concludes Act 2, Scene 1. Remember to study the rest of the notes available on ebooks. Please answer the questions for Act 2, Scene 1 in your workbook. And don't forget the mind map at the end of each scene. Tomorrow we will continue with Act 2, Scene 2. Have a great day.